A hotel security clip just hit the internet, and people are saying Kanye West shoved a paparazzo in a lobby. The stills are grainy, the angle is low, and it looks like a dome camera near the elevators. But the moment that camera clatters on the floor, you feel it in your gut. Tonight, we're pulling the frame-by-frame receipts and showing why this one incident could cost more than a broken lens. Here's the fast context. A video labeled like Hotel CCTV is being reposted everywhere, with a figure in a dark jacket and a paparazzo angling for a shot. There's a sidestep, a shoulder, and then chaos. Bodies, hands, and a camera jerking left before the feed jolts. It's a short clip, but the reactions have been instant. People are calling it assault. Others say it's self-defense, and everyone agrees it's a mess. What jumps out first is the choreography. The paparazzo appears to be standing inside the rope line by the lobby's central column, while the bigger figure moves past the corner. You can see a second person in the background, maybe security, turning right as the contact happens. Then, a scramble. If you listen closely, you hear a bark of, "Hey!" right before the thud of equipment. Now, why should you care beyond the shock? Because even a quick shove can count as civil battery, and civil battery can turn into a fat settlement. This isn't about a headline, it's about money, leverage, and what attorneys do when they smell a clean fact pattern. If a lawyer can argue the push was intentional and caused damage or pain, that's a claim. Let's talk patterns, because in celebrity law, patterns matter. Kanye's history with photographers is long and messy, and juries remember stories even if they never hear the old details in court. We've seen airport scuffles, outside studio blowups, and that infamous phone throw. This new clip, alleged or not, lands in a landscape that already sees him as volatile around cameras. But watch the angle a second time. The shove looks like it comes with momentum, like someone trying to cut through a choke point near the column. If that's the case, the defense could frame it as incidental contact. The question becomes, did the hand extend? Did the shoulder dip? Was there intent to move the pap out of the way? Intent is everything in these cases. A shove to create space can look very different than a strike done to cause harm. Here's where receipts hit hard. If the paparazzo posts medical notes, wrist strain, bruised shoulder, even a small cut, that turns sympathy into dollars. Add a photo of a cracked lens or a bent metal plate, and you're stacking damages. Equipment breaks are easy to price, and restorations can be verified. Juries like numbers because numbers feel objective. You're going to hear the word trespass. Hotels are private property open to invited guests, and lobbies can enforce rules. If the PAP crossed a line, security will say so. But trespass doesn't grant a celebrity a free pass to use force. That's where self-defense, defense of property, or defense of others gets argued. And those defenses need to be a real threat, not just annoying. Listen to the background voice again. It sounds like someone saying move, not stop. That's subtle but huge. Stop implies a command in response to danger. Move sounds like an escort trying to hustle a client past a human obstacle. If Kanye's team argues this was a bottleneck and the pap stepped into the path, they'll call it a collision. The pap's team will call it a deliberate shove. Frame 27 is where those stories collide. We should also talk timing, because the internet always gets the timeline wrong. The clip's timestamp graphic could be native to the camera, or added later. Fake overlays are easy. If the hotel confirms the camera ID and angle, that validates the overlay. If they don't, the clip still lives as evidence of what happened, just without the credibility boost of an official DVR stamp. Now, the hero in this story is the working shooter. Like it or not, paparazzi are part of the Hollywood ecosystem. They get paid for proximity, they survive on instincts, and they burn shoe leather for those angles. The villain is the pattern of hands-on reactions that escalate a situation that most stars just ignore. You can walk past a lens. You don't have to walk through a person. Watch the posture right before contact. The pap's stance looks open, feet apart, weight back. That reads like someone bracing for a subject to pass, not someone lunging. The other figure's shoulder is angled forward, hips squared. You get a quick head turn, then the jolt. If you've seen tunnel cam footage from sports, you know the look. A power move through a narrow gap. There's a second beat that people are missing. After the camera hits, there's a half step that suggests a follow-through, either to steady balance or to dominate space. That half step matters, because an oops collision usually comes with hands up, palms out, immediate, my bad. I don't see an apology gesture in those frames. What I see is the moment after, where security floods in and the PAP gets pinned by bodies and confusion. What happens next depends on two phone calls. One, a hotel manager calling legal. 2. A photographer calling a lawyer. The hotel will lock down the original DVR file, and the lawyer will ask for copies and a litigation hold. If the hotel cooperates quickly, you get a clean chain of custody. If they stall, expect subpoenas and motions that rack up costs on both sides. Now, if you followed these stories, you know that criminal charges don't always land, but civil claims turn into settlements. A prosecutor wants clarity and public interest. A civil attorney wants leverage. The leverage here is the clip plus the damage plus the pattern. Put those in a demand letter, attach estimates for equipment, doctor visits, and lost income, and you're shopping a number. The defense will say the pap stepped into a restricted zone, ignored security, and created a hazard. They'll cite the celebrity's prior harassment by aggressive shooters and frame any contact as reasonable force to move through. Expect witnesses, bell staff, concierge, other guests, to be asked for statements about who blocked whom. Those statements, even a single one, can swing perception. There's a public image war happening at the same time. Fans see everything through the lens of loyalty. Some will swear it's a setup. Others will say, same Kanye, different building. What changes outcomes isn't the noise, it's the receipts that survive discovery. The original video, the maintenance logs for the camera's timestamp, the metadata on the pap's stills before and after the hit. Here's the twist most people miss. Even if the pap signed a hotel release for filming, that doesn't waive battery claims. You can permit recording in a space and still be protected from unwanted touching. Also, NDAs don't cover physical conduct. If anyone tries to waive paperwork to silence the clip, that will backfire. The internet loves to break gags. Let's compare form. Past incidents lived outdoors. Curbs, sidewalks, parking lots, where chaos is expected. A hotel lobby adds a duty of care that's different. Surfaces are hard, corners are sharp, and other guests become unwitting hazards. If a shove sends someone sprawling into a luggage cart, that's extra liability. Public spaces that are private property can actually heighten risk. Frame by frame, look how the P hugs the column. That's someone trying to be close, but not in the middle of the flow. Meanwhile, the taller figure's shoulder line cuts across the rope. It's a tiny detail, but it tells a story. One person trying to document, one person trying to dominate space. Courts read intent in gestures. Jurors feel it in their bodies when they watch, and that's powerful. If you're the pap's lawyer, step 1 is the letter. Preserve the footage, request the names of any in-house security, and ask for any incident reports filed that night. Step 2 is medical documentation and gear appraisal. Show harm, show cost. Step 3 is leverage public interest without overplaying your hand. Juries hate performative outrage. They love simple facts. For Kanye's side, the best move is speed. Reach out, pay for repairs, cover the urgent care visit, and frame it as an accident in a tight space. Waiting invites a storyline to harden, and once the public decides it was a shove, it's hard to walk back. A quiet check now can be cheaper than a loud trial later. You might hear mutual combat, but that won't stick unless the PAP grabbed first. Nothing in the frame suggests the pap laid hands before the contact. That's why the moment the camera drops is so key. It's the first clear injury to property, and it's tied to the movement of the bigger figure's shoulder. If more angles appear, that could change. But right now, the single clip tilts one way. Another detail, the second person in frame looks like security, but their body language is reactive, not proactive. They turn after the impact. That suggests they weren't steering the path tightly enough before the collision. The optics there will hurt the defense. Professional escorts are supposed to prevent scrums, not chase them. Public fallout has a schedule. Day 1 is shock and replay. Day 2 is think pieces about paparazzi ethics. Day 3 is the legal prediction cycle. The only way to cut that cycle short is to resolve fast or produce a better angle. If a higher res lobby cam exists that shows a different story, release it. If it doesn't, settle before the hashtags. Harden. I want to be crystal clear on one thing. Alleged or verified, this clip touches a nerve because it's not about fame. It's about force. People can hate paparazzi and still hate a shove. People can love a superstar and still expect control in a public place. That tension is why these stories catch fire every time. Let's talk numbers. A broken high-end camera body, a pro lens, plus a gimbal or cage. You're easily at 5 figures, and that's before medicals. Add missed gigs if the pap can't shoot for a week, and now you're talking a settlement that stings but doesn't bankrupt anyone. It's a check designed to make the story go away. If you're the hotel, you conduct an internal. You check whether rope lines were set, whether security had the right head count, whether you need a new policy for celebrity movement. Hotels hate becoming settings for viral incidents because liability walks in the front door and checks in under an alias. For fans asking if charges are coming, here's the sober answer. Criminal battery requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt and a prosecutor willing to take heat. That's rare in pap scuffles unless the harm is obvious. Civil claims need a preponderance of evidence, more likely than not, and a defendant who would rather pay than fight. That happens every day, and it often happens quietly. One more frame, one more tell. After the impact, the taller figure doesn't look back. That's not proof of guilt, but jurors notice. Innocent collisions come with reflexive empathy. Deliberate shoves come with forward motion and a closed jaw. Visual storytelling is persuasive because our bodies know the difference before our brains find the words. In the end, heroes fight back with receipts, not rage. If the PAP keeps every record, if the hotel preserves the DVR, and if the lawyers keep it about facts, this will resolve quickly. If the sides grandstand on social, it drags into a circus where nobody wins but the algorithm. We'll leave you with the simplest truth about power and proximity. The lens is part of the job. The shove is not. Whether this clip ends in charges or a check, the lesson is the same. Walking past a camera costs nothing. Shoving past one can cost 6 figures. And for the superstar at the center of all this, every time a story like this surfaces, airport, street, lobby, it tightens a narrative loop. Patterns stop being incidents and start being identity. You can change your clothes, your city, even your circle. But until the pattern breaks, the public won't. So watch the frame again. Feel the space. Hear the thud. That's the sound of another story getting expensive. We'll update you if a new angle lands. For now, remember this. The law cares less about fame and more about impact. And in that lobby, the impact was the only thing that wasn't blurry. The paparazzo will heal, the lens will be repaired, the lobby will polish its marble. But the tape will live forever in the feeds, a loop that plays whenever the name trends. Villain aimed to destroy hero, but ultimately destroyed themselves.